When the dim hour before sunrise hands you its usual ration of unanswered questions, do racing worries still bolt ahead of your first clear breath? In that grey hush, pale light brushes the curtain edge, summoning you toward a first light moment where every gaze can realign, each hidden fear can loosen, and a quiet refuge waits to cradle restless thoughts until courage dawns and the entire day stands freshly anointed. The Lord who kept watch through the night now invites you to lay down every anxious script and listen for his steady heartbeat that outpaces alarm. In the morning, Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait expectantly. See Psalm 5, 3. These words remind you that dawn is not empty space, but a meeting ground where petitions rise and answers begin their quiet descent. What burden will you entrust to his keeping hand? Which desire will you yield so he may polish it into purpose? Now, as your heart grows still, we step into the unfolding of promise. The horizon breathes a faint rose blush, coaxing you from tangled sheets into a room washed with possibility. Soft bands of color spill across the floorboards like gentle banners, declaring that night never has the final word. You rub sleep's residue from your eyes, and in that fragile instant, before memories crowd in, you choose the simplest act of worship. You look up, sailing cloud, or sheer unseen sky. Whatever spans above you becomes a sanctuary roof, where your very first thought seeks him who spoke the dawn into being. Each inhale lengthens, each exhale releases stale dread from yesterday. The hush is not absence but invitation, a whisper urging, lift your face toward the one who paints new mercy across the canvas of time. Through the window, a solitary bird tests its wings, tracing an arc that mirrors the prayer rising within you. Father, be my horizon. No checklist can rival this posture. No headline deserves priority over his presence. You notice how early light slips around corners, illuminating neglected spaces, books stacked crooked, a half-watered plant, the unmade bed. Rather than rush to tidy everything, you allow the glow to reveal what truly needs attention, the neglected corners of your own spirit. In that awareness you remain still, trusting the gentle radiance to warm what has grown cold, to coax life where resignation once settled. Lamentations 3:22-23. These ancient lines breathe across centuries, reminding you that steadfast love is not rationed, nor do mercies expire with the calendar. Each sunrise restarts the supply. Let gratitude grow audible on your lips as you recount simple graces. Steady heartbeat, lungs filling, morning breeze weaving through the crack of a window left ajar. Gratitude soon crowds out apprehension. Thanksgiving becomes the anthem that ushers in confidence. Light climbs higher, gilding edges of furniture and framing your silhouette with quiet glory. You sense worry still loitering at the threshold, hungry for entry, yet it finds no unguarded door because your gaze remains fixed on his gentle brilliance. The thoughts once prone to scatter now gather like sparrows on a single branch, united in one intent, delight in the Lord, wait for his counsel. Every shadow meekly retreats, even your fears acknowledge the authority of radiance. Listen to the steady rhythm of your pulse, a metronome set by heaven. Each beat underscores a vow. He who begins this day with you will not abandon the later hours. You need not predict noon's challenges or evening's fatigue. First light pledges enough grace for every clock tick yet to come. So you rise anchored, not by clarity about the future, but by confidence in the one who presides over it. You step toward the tasks ahead, carrying the dawn within, certain that wherever you walk, sunrise continues on the inside. You settle into a stillness deeper than silence, letting the chair cradle your frame while the new sun heightens every color outside your window. Dealet grass glints like scattered emeralds, and a single shaft of brilliant spears through the glass to rest upon your folded hands. That small beam becomes a living pointer, leading wandering attention back to one fixed axis, God's steady face turned toward you. Thoughts that once skittered like startled sparrows begin to perch, wings tucked, upon this singular branch of awareness. You inhale calm, you exhale clutter. Inside, a gentle discipline awakens the art of choosing what occupies the inner stage. You picture mind and heart as an open field, and you invite only one guest to walk its length. Others regret, rehearsal, prediction, hover at the gate, but you mark it reserved. This moment is a sanctuary where you meet the king before anyone else claims the throne of consciousness. Footsteps in the hallway, alerts on the phone, headlines in the ether. Each tries to clamor for entry, each finds the door politely closed. Outside, a meadowlark pours an unhurried song into morning air, teaching you tempo. No haste stains its melody, no dread shortens its notes. You listen and borrow that cadence, letting every heartbeat echo its measured joy. The melody threads through you, tying stray strands of focus into a single braid. Your breathing slows, shoulders soften. Body joins soul in the same posture, receptive, steady. Within, mental traffic lightens. Lists, deadlines, and awkward conversations still exist, yet they shrink to rightful size beneath a vast horizon of divine constancy. You remember that the one who crafts galaxies also carries your name. A small smile curves across your face without invitation, because truth releases delight more effortlessly than effort ever could. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. So Isaiah 26:3, peace is not passive, it flows from deliberate fixation. Trust steadies your vision the way a keystone locks an arch, allowing every stone of thought to hold firm beneath life's weight. You rise, open palms upward, and whisper a single line. Direct all my mental streams toward you. The prayer feels simple, yet its effect radiates like concentric ripples across still water. Every choice, every word soon influenced by this centering. You glimpse a schedule lying on the desk, but its boxes appear less tyrannical, almost gracious, when viewed through the lens of surrendered perspective. Fear edges near, attempting to project worst case images onto your mind's screen. Instead of suppressing those shadows, you swivel your inner gaze back to the light until darkness dissolves of its own accord. You learn that whatever you regard longest grows strongest, so you stare at grace until it enlarges, stare at glory until it magnifies, stare at mercy until it fills all margins. Time passes unnoticed, marked only by the sun inching higher along the wall. You feel prepared, not because every unknown is mapped, but because the compass of attention points true north. The day may disperse energy across 1,000 details, but your gaze will keep returning to the source again and again with practiced ease. And when night circles back, memory will recall these bright minutes when vision held fast and the heart found perfect alignment. You stand at the doorway where anxious thoughts once paraded in tight formation, pausing now beneath the gentler cadence of grace. Dawn leaks through parted drapes, revealing corners where uncertainty crouched like an uninvited guest. Imagination has scrawled disasters in charcoal across the trembling canvas of your mind, yet you resist the urge to scrub the scene clean. Instead, you beckon the master painter to step forward. His radiance washes the surface, lifting sooty streaks and replacing ominous outlines with delicate strokes of promise. Breath by breath, you sense the room itself inhale hope, and the air thickens with the quiet assurance that today begins under higher authorship. A solitary sparrow alights on the sill, tilts its head, and settles as if proclaiming this ledge belongs to peace. You match its steadiness, planting both soles on cool boards while spine unwinds tension knot by knot. Slow inhalations trace each anxiety back to its hidden root. The dread that resources might dry up, affections might fracture, life might tilt beyond control. You name these roots, not to nourish them, but to surrender them. The confession leaves your mouth like a soft breeze. Here, Lord, carry what outweighs me. Even as the words fade, you feel unseen hands lifting the load. Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. So 1 Peter 5:7. This invitation is wrapped in tenderness. Divine concern forms the cushion beneath every burden, so nothing you yield splinters when it meets his heart. Eyes close, and you picture a river unscarred by engine or oar, mist hanging like gossamer above its mirrored surface. Each worry transforms into a pebble released from your fingers, concentric circles widen. Then the stone slips beneath and disappears. The water does not archive your burden. It bears it away, far downstream, beyond the horizon of memory. In that vision you discover that letting go is not abdication, but cooperation with mercy's movement. Freed from gravel weight, your pulse adopts the tempo of the river, steady and forward, flowing. Household sounds resume. The kettle sighs, roof timbers settle. Distant traffic hums a patient bass line. None of it intrudes. Each tone merely proves ordinary life proceeds, while you rest inside extraordinary security. Fear attempts a final siege, whispering its seasoned query, what if? Yet the question collides with a surer answer, who holds you? Under that banner, speculation loses oxygen. You discern the difference between prudent caution, which guides footsteps, and relentless terror, which cages the heart. Choosing the former, you dismiss the latter. Sunlight climbs until dust motes turn into flickering flecks of gold, swirling like liberated hopes choreographed by an unseen breath. You gather yourself, calmer yet stronger, like earth after nourishing rain. Fingers uncurl, shoulders draw back, and a closing vow rises. My future rests in hands wiser than mine. The words taste of cedar and dawn. Fear may knock again at noon or creep at midnight. Yet you now know the path back to this riverbank where surrender and serenity share the same cool stone. You will walk it as often as needed until peace becomes your native air. Morning advances, and with it comes the hum of obligations. Phones vibrating, kettle whistling, neighbors greeting the street. But you step into a quieter chamber within, where hurry cannot follow. Picture an ancient walled garden nestled behind the business of the city. Tall stone encircles emerald paths, vines climb archways, fountains murmur secrets. That heaven now exists inside your spirit, crafted by a Father who shields without fail. You cross its threshold simply by whispering, "Hide me," and invisible gates swing wide. Every external clang dulls to a muted throb beyond thick ramparts, while peace unfurls like cool shade over sunlit grass. You wander slow, tracing fingertips along ivy-draped walls as though confirming their strength. Each leaf shines with dew, evidence that divine guardianship operates even while you slept. Memories of past deliverances emerge, the diagnosis overturned, the relationship restored, the bill unexpectedly covered. These recollections are smooth stones lining the walkway, a testimony trail proving that rescue is pattern, not accident. As you follow their curve, fear's echo fades behind the garden's strong enclosure, replaced by a gentle chorus of water meeting water at the fountain's heart. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1, refuge suggests not mere escape, but sustained belonging. The one who harbors you also empowers you, blending safety with vigor so stillness never surrenders to stagnation. A soft breeze glides through flowering branches, carrying hints of cedar and citrus. You inhale, and each fragrance writes assurance onto the lungs. You are defended here, yet never isolated. Look, sunlight filters between leaves, forming radiant lattices that dance upon the pathway. Even within fortification, brilliance finds you, reminding you that shelter with God is permeated by light, not shuttered in gloom. Consider the fortress walls again. They do not crumble under the weight of news cycles or shifting economies. Their foundation is covenant, ages, old promises mortar each stone. You lay a hand upon that steadfastness and feel warmth pulse back, a silent vow that you are held, not only preserved from harm, but encircled by love. In this embrace, agendas reorder, urgency bows, priorities realign, and the notion of enough expands until it covers every perceived lack. Birdsong, distant yet clear, threads through the air like silver ribbon. It teaches that security produces songfulness, protection frees praise. Your own voice files in harmony, offering a litany of thanks for breath that arrives without schedule, for thoughts no longer frantic, for the surety that nothing can breach this sacred barricade unless grace first allows. Each thank you acts like a key turned deeper in the lock, reinforcing peace. Time to exit approaches, yet you do not actually leave, you carry the garden with you. The walls become a mobile perimeter, following every footstep into corridors, traffic, meetings. When pressure attempts to pierce, you recall the feel of vine, covered stone, the fountain's murmur, the vow in Psalm 46, and calm reasserts. Refuge discovered at dawn transforms into resilience at noon and quiet confidence at dusk. Through the day's swirl, you remain walled in mercy, roofed by promise, open to light. You leave the hidden garden and step onto the brightening road where ordinary scenery hides unforeseen turns. Asphalt glistens after mist, reflecting a widening sky, as if the heavens themselves flatten into a mirror, daring you to walk across their promise. With each stride you feel the steady echo of refuge still circling your soul, yet movement now asks more than safety. It asks readiness. You hear distant machinery rev, conversations spark, agendas stack, but beneath that rising hum a quieter percussion beats, the unmistakable rhythm of fearless resolve awakening inside you. In the valley below, morning fog unlaces around low hills, revealing rugged contours, and you realize courage rarely emerges all at once. It uncurls the way vapor drifts to unveil solid ridges. You pause, inhale crisp air tinged with pine, and acknowledge that risk will meet you today. Perhaps in the boardroom, perhaps in a difficult apology, perhaps in silent endurance of grief. Still, you refuse to negotiate with dread, for your footing rests on covenant bedrock. Shadows lengthen and shrink, but the ground beneath remains unchanged. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. The Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. These words carry marching orders, infused with companionship. Strength gains muscle when presence walks beside it, and fear loses leverage where nearness is assured. Ahead, two paths diverge, one smooth, one winding through cedar and shale. Comfort whispers toward the easy lane, yet purpose tugs you into the rugged climb. Boots crunch over gravel. Heartbeat quickens, calves tighten. With every elevation gained, you discover fresh reservoirs of stamina you never catalogued. Faith functions like that. Latent stores appear precisely when ascent demands them. Wind sweeps across the ridge, tossing hair and jacket into playful disarray, and you laugh, surprised by joy in the midst of strain. Downslope, a river ribbons silver between boulders, rushing with unashamed voice. Its waters crash and glide simultaneously, proving that power and grace coexist without contradiction. You trace its serpentine run and recognize similarities in your own story. Obstacles forcing swift turns, momentum gathering where resistance once stood. The river does not apologize for speed, neither will you apologize for bold obedience. Even failure, should it occur, will be met with resilience framed by mercy. A hawk circles overhead, wings spread like bronze sails. Watching its effortless lift, you sense an invitation to trade self, drafted strategies for wind-borne guidance. You whisper, led every decisive moment, and the words fly upward faster than the bird itself. Suddenly meetings, deadlines, unknown conversations shrink to scale. They become stepping stones rather than mountains. You grasp that true audacity is not brash display, but quiet commitment to whatever assignment God places in reach, trusting Him for the upward draft. At midday, the sun stands directly above, erasing nearly every shadow. In that clarity, you resolve to walk with equal transparency. No hidden corners, no disguised motives. Honesty itself becomes armor, shining so brightly that deceit cannot blend within its glare. Courage, now fully unfolded, is less about noise and more about daylight integrity. The steady decision to stand, speak, and serve in ways aligned with the one who shelters you. You crest the final rise and overlook a horizon scattered with rooftops and roads, each representing people, needs, possibilities. Warmth expands in your chest because you understand bravery is not an end in itself. It is a vessel through which generosity, justice, and gentle truth reach others. You begin descent with measured steps, carrying a heart unclenched, a mind alert, and hands willing. The day waits, but you no longer wait for the day to prove itself. You arrive as proof that divine courage walks the earth through yielded lives. You step back onto the main road, morning almost full grown, yet light still fresh as poured olive oil shimmering across the street. That image of oil lingers, for you sense an unseen hand brushing the hours ahead with consecrating balm. Every conversation, spreadsheet, commute, and chore now glistens under heaven's sheen. You extend both palms, imagining droplets sliding along lifelines toward fingertips where blessing can spill into the lives you touch. Birds wheel low, scattering petal, soft shadows that remind you generosity moves best on quiet wings. With shoulders squared and eyes bright, you carry inward stillness into outward motion. Traffic signals cycle, you cross, and even the smallest obedient stride feels like liturgy. A smile for the weary barista, patience for a child tugging your sleeve, honesty in a tense meeting. Each act joins a fragrant procession. No longer do you measure usefulness by applause, you measure by alignment. Like a river guided by banks, your choices flow within the curve of God's intent, gaining speed yet never straying. Mid-morning sun angles through city glass, scattering prismatic shards that dance across a lobby floor. Passing through the moving color, you recall the refuge walls, the centered gaze, the surrendered fears, the rising courage. All these dawn gifts interlace, pressing outward as quiet authority. When questions surface, will resources hold? Will relationships endure? Assurance answers before anxiety can speak, not with thunder, but with calm conviction that presence persists. A colleague unloads frustration, voice edged with fatigue. You listen without flinching, because peace inside you leaves room for another storm. Gentle words follow, no dramatic solution, just kindness cushioned by truth, and tension loosens like knots under warm water. This too is anointing, letting divine compassion soak through your tone until wounded spirits absorb hope. As the conversation ends, gratitude rises unbidden, like blossoms opening after rain. Hours wheel forward. Tasks finish, new ones queue, yet pace remains measured, anchored by morning vows. Sparks of worry fizzle before catching, because deliberate trust keeps fear's fuel scarce. You remember the hawk riding thermals, and you breathe a humble request, lift me when energy flags. Wind answers subtly, a friend's encouraging text, an inspired idea, a moment to laugh at your own misstep. Each breeze proves the anointing flows continual, not confined to sunrise. Afternoon tilts toward golden promise, and you realize dusk will summon rest, yet its residue will linger. Footprints of mercy on hallways and screens, fragrance of faith trailing every interaction. You commit to finish as you began, mind on God before fear, voice tuned to praise before complaint. The sun declines, but oil glistens still, catching last light like embers on water. You walk on, consecrated, content, carrying enough radiance to scatter into tomorrow's dawn. As this prayer closes, remain still for one deliberate breath. Feel lungs expand, witness calm settle like clear water over river stones. Remember dawn's first glow, the steady gaze, relinquished fears, unshakable refuge, rising courage, and oil of blessing. Invite the Spirit to weave these gifts through every conversation, decision, task, and silence. Promise to welcome beauty. Answer impatience with kindness, protect interior quiet amidst noise. Daylight escorts you outward, grace walks beside, truth precedes. Courage follows. Return this evening to rest beneath the same mercy that met you at dawn, and awaken tomorrow still held, still guided, still grateful.